Hey, how you guys doing? This is going to be my ayahuasca recap video when I went to Peru. Just a quick thing, this hat here is, it's called a cholo. This one was made by the shaman who conducted my ceremony. Well, actually, he's one of the Andean priests. And after the ceremony, I bought this hat from him, and he also gave me this bracelet for free. So I figured I'll start from when I landed in Peru, Cusco. So first of all, I used air miles to fly there. It was about 6,000 air miles, which I want to say a huge thank you to my mother, because she gave me all her air miles. She started saving up since I was like 3. So I've been saving up air miles for 23 years. And 6,000 air miles, well, 6,200 air miles for a round trip, but I had to pay about $650 for flights for taxes. And then the ayahuasca retreat was, well, at the time it was $725 US, I think, or $775 US. The price went up to $875 US now. The way that worked is you can put a down deposit of 50% and they'll hold it for a year for you. So it took me about 2 years to save up and do this. I had the money ready the first year, but then I had nobody to go with. But it was kind of a blessing in disguise. The person I was supposed to go with was Ricky, but Ricky had a lot of stuff going on in his life at that time. He couldn't go. So that's when I said, you know what, screw it. I'm just going to put the down deposit down on this place, and I'm going to go next summer regardless if anybody comes with me or not. So when I did that, once I showed that, well, first it was Ricky who was seriously enough to agree with me to go on this trip. I asked lots of other friends. This is something I've been wanting to do for like years, a really, really long time. And so Ricky committed with me, so that's what made me save up my money. So his commitment worked for me, and then my commitment to book the retreat is what made him save up his money again and made him be more serious about it. And so when we went together this time, we were both in a way better spot in our lives, like no drama from girlfriends or stress or anything like that. So even though it took 2 years to do it, it was perfect timing. So that was really good. So yeah, so once we landed in Cusco, which what was really cool too, is me and Ricky didn't catch up on this, was when we booked our flights, we sent each other our itineraries, but we never even realized that we were actually on the same flights there and back. So we thought we were going to fly, like travel alone. It was my first time leaving Canada, so it was a big thing for me, so I was kind of nervous about that. But by the end of it, we found out that we were on the same flight, so it was like golden, basically. It almost was like it was meant to happen. So we landed in Cusco. I got to Cusco first, then a few hours later, Ricky came to Cusco. And we stayed at a hostel called Peruana, almost like Partywana. This was like a really nice hostel. You can see pictures I have on Facebook about it. But everyone spoke English there. The rooms were really nice. It was like a big courtyard. It was all full of nature and just like beautiful vines and flowers. Like, it looked amazing. And it was about it's about $17 a night Canadian to stay there. 42 souls a night. And that was for a 10 dorm bedroom. So you're sharing a room with 10 people. It's bunk beds. And but these rooms came with electricity, and they came with a locker. You had to bring your own locks, and so you could put your bag and your stuff in there and you could lock it away. But I don't know, it depends. Maybe next traveling I do, I may not do the dorm thing. I may see if I can find a private room. The only downside to the dorm room was you're always cautious about your stuff. Like, everything's in a locker. You gotta make sure you put everything in there, and you lock it up, and you gotta have your phone charging in there, and you know, I mean, there's a degree of like just having to trust certain people in your room. I didn't hear of anyone's stuff getting stolen. A lot of people in my rooms, they had their stuff just like sprawled on the bed the whole time. A few times I just left things on my bed and it was okay. But you know, I mean, you're traveling, you gotta be safe. You gotta make sure your money's locked up, your passport. You know, I mean, you're just the whole safety thing. But the biggest thing that was the most annoying about it, because when I was there, I was going for the ayahuasca retreat, so no drugs, no drinking. You couldn't have sex or masturbate for 2 weeks before and 2 weeks after. So that was a really big challenge. I know a lot of us can probably relate to that, but you know what I mean, no orgasm at all for a whole month. It really showed you how much of addiction, I guess you could say, sex is. Maybe not an addiction, but how much control maybe it has over your life, or how much of an influence it has. So it was really a downside of it was I really wish I could go see and party in Peru, just kind of like, you know, and like go balls to the walls kind of thing, see what the nightlife was like, because it was like a huge culture shock to me. The way the buildings were, like, we're really modernized here, like, you know, and clean cut, straight edges, nice strong buildings. Down there it was like going to an ancient city. Like they had all, you know, cathedrals and like so much art on the walls, and everything just looked so old and vintage. Like, it might sound weird, but sometimes it looked like I was in like a Modern Warfare video game. Like you're running through some city, and you know what I mean, like it looked just like some things I seen on TV. Like you'd see balconies on the side of people's houses with so much like art carved into the wood, and then you find out that the wood's like thousands of years old, and they just such an amazing job of preserving the culture down there. But what's really like a big kicker is like we went on a tour and we learned about how Spain came in and destroyed like everything of the Inca religion. And they were saying, like, we went into some of the churches and the temples. So when Spain came in, they brought the Catholic religion. So there's like lots of crosses, but like done up way more beautiful than anything I've ever seen here in Halifax, Nova Scotia. These are probably like 20-foot crosses outside, embezzled with a bunch of like gold and jewelry. And like, I don't know if it was real gold, but back in the Inca days, it was all real gold. They said that when Spain came to one church and they were pulling all the gold out of it, it took them 3 full days just to rip all the gold out of this one church. So even as beautiful as the place is still now, you hear about what it was supposed to be like from tour guides and locals and stuff like that, and you're just like, wow, man, I really, really wish I could have seen what this was like. Could have seen what this was like back in the past. So we're cruising around Cusco, checking out the hostels, and we're seeing like all the, you know, all the stuff going on, all the street vendors, and like these guys work so hard. Like this was handmade. Everything, every gift that I bought down there was all handmade. And there's a lot of bartering down there. Like you never pay full price for anything. I guess if you're good or if you want to save money. When I first got there, I didn't really know any Spanish at all. Ricky knew some, and then I learned some Spanish from him. Then I was able to barter with the locals more. But yeah, you always, the bartering becomes kind of fun, because at first you're kind of like, oh, I can't do this, and you feel weird about it, but then eventually you start getting some stuff for some really sick prices, and then it's like a game, you're really enjoying it. And so these people are like, there's so much, it's completely tourism city. They're selling so much of like bracelets, hats. There's even people on the side of the street just selling like sandwiches. Like say you went home and you made like 50 sandwiches. You came out and you just got a platter there and you're selling them, and yogurt sticks and strawberries and pineapple and watermelon. Like all the fruit that I ate down there was like so much fresher, so good. Like it just was amazing how the quality of food in that sense. So it was really interesting, because it seems like a really poor country for money wise and stuff like that, but then like culturally and food and their history, it's just so much more rich than us. Well, I don't want to say it's more rich than us, but a lot different than what we're used to here. So much colors, like everything. Even like a lot of the stuff that I found really cool was like all the women there would always like have their babies just like strapped right to their back, but they would have like these like psychedelic like poncho robes on, and it's just normal for them. But when we see it, it's like, wow, that's so beautiful and so colorful. But to them, these colors are just everywhere, just everyday normal part of the culture. It's just colorful everywhere. It's almost like you walk through a mall or you walk through a market. It's like a psychedelic trip, because it's so colorful and so bright and so vibrant. There's a lot of people who could paint down there. They could learn carvings. What was really interesting though is there would be all these street vendors selling these like portfolios of pictures, and they were painted on black velvet, but they looked absolutely amazing. And but the weird thing is like you'd go to 10 different artists and they'd all have the same picture. So I don't know if it's like a school or a template or something like that, but I found that really interesting. So sometimes you would see the same picture but painted way better by another guy. Yeah, so there's a lot of people on the side of the street, you know, and ladies dressed in traditional wear. You would took pictures of these women though. They had asked for money. It's like a lot of people thrive off tourism down there, and there's a lot of stray dogs. More so than like, or in Halifax, you don't see like a stray dog just running around. Like, it's kind of really odd if you do. Down there was lots of stray dogs, but they kind of seemed, no one was kind of like mean to them. They're kind of like well kept stray dogs. Another interesting thing that I found too was they had a lot of plazas with like parks and patches of grass and like walkways through them. The grass was like really well kept. The nature was like, everything grew really well there. But what I found kind of interesting, they're really big on Mother Earth, Pachamama, and nobody like walked on the grass or laid on the grass, and it was like, you might sound weird, but it was really nice looking grass. Like here in Canada, like we would lay in that grass because it's so nice. And it's just like you lay there with your friends with a blanket or something, or you throw a football around. Down there, like nobody walked on the grass, so I'm assuming it's a respect thing for Mother Nature. So yeah, I don't know, that's just like a little bit of a recap of like just what Peru's like in general. So we spent 3 days cruising around, shopping, checking out sites, and then the day before we went to the Ayahuasca retreat, we had to meet up with the Etnikas crew, and that's the retreat we decided to go with. They have over 30 years of experience working with Ayahuasca and 10 years with the clinic. So they met up with us the day before we went and did our first Ayahuasca session, and they had nurses there with us, and we had to do a volcanic medicinal water cleanse. So it's just this, they brought this big bucket of water. It's almost just tastes just like salt water, and and then they had these big cups. It's probably like 600 mils maybe or more. So we had to drink, they said like a maximum of like, well, a minimum of 15, or a max of min 15 kind of, like 15 was the number that they were saying. And you had to drink 6 of these as fast as you possibly could. So what this water does is it cleanses your whole body right through you, and it, sorry for the language, but it's the easiest way to give a description and maybe a visual. It makes you pretty much piss out your ass. You have to drink this water until you are pissing out clear water, no flakes, just clearness. So at first we started pounding these waters back, and it was whatever. It was kind of gross. It was just like drinking salt water pretty much, and